It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. And for someone who has no desire to overeat, they look at me when I order food and it's just like plate upon plate, just all around me, and they're like, oh, what a sinner. Only because it brings them no pleasure. But that same person is doing who knows what, and I'm sitting there like, I guess not getting into heaven. No way. Again, it doesn't bring me pleasure. I have no desire to do it. It's not attractive to me. Any of those things, it doesn't, in my mind, fulfill something. So it's disgusting to me. It's simple, right? And so we have we take this moral standard as well, this Christian moral standard, and we go, I would be righteous if I could do this. And the only problem is you cannot do it. You are incapable of doing it. There is nothing about you that could make you righteous. And therefore, we fully rely on God's perfect sense of compassion to go, Q is never going to do it. He's never going to make it. Jesus will do it for him, and I will take his righteousness and place it on Q. And therefore, Q is not righteous. Again, I did nothing of it, right? So we've got that. We've got the righteousness. Then the other aspect of this, how we're going to be betrothed to God, is God takes righteousness, places it on me. Then it also says injustice. What is justice? We all demand it, right? I want justice! Someone does something wrong to us, first thing we say is, or you know what, I always feel bad. And I know sometimes I know my wife must literally look at me, what's wrong with you? Why can't you just be like compassionate? Like on the news, someone will be, right after a trial or something, my son was murdered or something. Like, we just want justice to be done. And then I go into this big theological discussion about how that can't be. And Denise just looks at me and goes, she lost her son. Like, what would you tell this person? I'm like, oh, in person, I need to look at everything. Sit with me and I'll console you. In my head, I'm going, you want justice. Do you have any idea what you're asking for? What's justice?
Punishment.
What? What did you say? Fairness? I heard another one. Punishment? Okay, yeah, to a certain extent, equality. I think you heard that from someone else. Though, but what did you fully say?
No, I didn't say it. You just said equality.
Who else said something? Did anyone else say anything?
What about the evening out of good and
Harmony? Okay. And you were saying the evening out of good. Yeah, and I again, all those things are right. And I think the key there, who said punishment? Yeah, I think there's some aspect of punishment that needs to be administered, because the only time you want justice is when something wrong's been done. To you or to other people. I mean, you can want justice for, if someone beats a Derek later after church. I was saying someone. I wasn't saying it was going to happen. I'm going to want justice for my friend. And maybe me and Wade are going to go beat someone up then. Maybe. No, you don't know that. But so if someone that you're close with, someone that you care about, is wrong, you want justice for them as well. And we, for the most part, we should be living like we want justice for all people. Only problem, how do we determine where the line is? When it becomes a thing of justice. I mean, we have laws in our country, and someone soon will be able to explain them all for us, thankfully. I give him 2 more weeks, and he's going to have that whole thing worked out and everything. But why is it that I can be driving in my car, drop my CD on the floor, reach down to pick it up, hit someone, and go to jail for 2 years? Or I can be angrily fighting with my wife, get out of the car, and she runs me over, and she gets 30 years. Or I can be drinking, crash into another car, kill a bunch of people, and get 6 years. Where's justice? The same action, 3 different outcomes. So one of the challenges that we have as a society is determining levels of justice, because we have to put little things in place to go, well, okay, well, he didn't mean to do that, so there was no vengeance in it. He wasn't intending on killing that person, so we're just going to give him a little punishment. Oh, that guy? He was intending. I mean, she ran him over, backed up, ran him over again, you know what I mean? Like, that's more than, you know, when he just dropped the CD. So there's this idea, this arbitrary time, so, and sometimes, administration of justice. And for God, there's a standard. It's, you do this, and guess who gets to decide? Anyone else? Just him. You know what's nice about that? We're not fair. We aren't. Because I can give you a story about how someone was injured or hurt. That person's wife can give you a story, and you're going to be a lot more, I hope you're going to be a lot more compassionate to the spouse, to the wife. Whereas I'm just going, look, we were working, driving a tractor, he fell off, his arm got hacked off. He should have been horsing around. I don't know, $5,000? The wife's like, oh, he's never going to be the same. You can never hug him again. And he used to always run his left hand through my hair, and his left hand is gone. Or what? I'm just saying, whatever the case may be. She's going to give you a completely he's just going to put like a rake on his hand. They're going to give you a completely different understanding of that story, and hopefully you are going to be compassionate and have a different reaction to it. But neither one of them is going to be fair, because both people, or whoever determines it, does not have the ability of being completely fair and impartial. God does. So thankfully, when God says, this is justice, we're able to look back and go, yeah, you know what? He decided it perfectly, wholly on his own, not based on either of our actions, but instead based on a standard that he set for us. So, I'm going to take you and bond you to me in righteousness, in justice, in steadfast love. What does that mean? What does steadfast love mean? Constant, durable, not changing, not fluctuating. It is, if there was such a thing, a perfect love. It doesn't go up and down based on what the spouse does. It doesn't go up and down based on how I feel today. It doesn't go up and down based on actions that are done. But instead, God says, I'm going to love you in a steady, consistent, perfect way. And then he says, and in mercy. Now, a lot of times we define mercy as what? Being nice? Okay, there's like a traditional definition that we give. It's not getting what you deserve. That's a pretty fair idea of mercy. And I told you guys in the first week, mercy in the Hebrew comes from a word that means what? I would point to myself, but you guys are going to think I'm talking stomach. But pretend it was a lady and I was pointing.
Oh, your bowel.
No.
God.
Close. Where's the baby? Yeah, your womb. It's the word, the Hebrew word for mercy has this sense of, it derives from the word for womb, which when you think about it, it's a different kind of love. It's a parental love. It's a kind of concern and compassion that we just can't have for one another. It's something that a parent has for a child. It's a very different kind of way of expressing emotion and affection that you're only capable of, I would say, if you were a woman. That men really aren't capable of that kind of love. I don't know what it's like to carry a child and then at the end go, yeah, there's a bond between me and this child. So think of the effect of that when God told the people, I'm going to have no mercy on you. It's literally like, imagine a mother just completely going, not only am I disowning you as a child, but I'm taking the memory of you being in my womb. I'm completely removing that away from me. Pretty significant, huh? So God is literally saying, I'm going to bind you together with me in what?
Righteousness. Justice.
Justice.
Steadfast love.
The four aspects, when you really think about it, like I was saying, think about those four aspects and how they comprise salvation. Righteousness, Jesus had to be righteous because we were unable to. Justice has to be administered. People who are not saved are going to pay. Unfortunately, they are going to pay. Steadfast love, another absolute requirement of salvation. God has to love us perfectly, not unconditionally. Perfectly. Two very big things. Very, very different things. Because, like I've said before, God's love is very conditional. I know people are like, ooh, I can't believe you said that. It's conditional. It's conditional on His conditions. I say this all the time. Does God just love everyone? People will say, yes, absolutely. I want you guys to really think about that. God doesn't automatically love everyone. People will say, what? God is
Love.
Does that mean He loves everyone? Again, this is my challenge for the group. Find it in Scripture where it says God loves unconditionally. Okay? We'll take that up another time. I know a couple of you have got to be like, he's insane, he's lost his mind. That concept is not biblical. I'm sorry. I know people are like, what?
John 3:16.
For God loved the world. What does the world mean? Greek student?
Is it cosmos?
Okay, well that's everything. That's the heavens, the earth, creation. Where are people involved in it?
Inclusive of everything.
And He says, I love them regardless of what they do. I love them in spite of
all.
Right, but where is that described unconditional love?
That's inclusive of everything, even though it's been sinful.
Where is it unconditional?
I don't know.
That's what I'm asking.
Where is it conditional, though?
Because certain people don't go to heaven. Certain people didn't get saved.
Does that?
So there's a condition to it,
That
right?
means that's the assumption. That means not love, though.
That's what I'm asking you. I mean, if John 3:16 is going to be your verse, then you're going to have to explain 18 and 19 to me and how it relates to God loving everyone, because He then talks about condemning a bunch of people, which is a condition.
To salvation, but not love.
We're gonna have this argument.
Yeah, I know, this is for late. This is for late.
This is
Yeah.
rapid. Okay, it's
And you need to come up with a better verse than 3:16. All right,
Oh, yeah.
so he goes then to, and do your Greek work on it first before you bring me that verse ever again, okay?
I gave you the Greek.
No, you didn't. You gave me one word in the Greek.
All right.
I'm talking to Dr. Mulder, you're in big trouble now. All right, so then he goes into verse 20, right? So he gives us these aspects of how he's going to bind this together. Righteousness, justice, steadfast love, and mercy. And then he says in verse 20, I will betroth you to me in... No one's looking at it? Faithfulness, and you shall know the Lord. So again, God is emphasizing this aspect of betrothal, this binding together that's going to happen solely based on His work, and it's going to be based on what? Faithfulness. You to me in faithfulness. Something we are not capable of. We are not capable of being faithful. We are not capable of being even faithful to ourselves because we bounce around from one day to another on what we like, what we don't want, what we do want, what we need, what we don't need. Right? Over the last 3 months, I'm sure this has probably affected all of you guys. On one way, you're like, you know what I think I need to do is, I need to buy a new car. And then you start looking into it and you go, I can't afford a car, I'll keep taking the bus. Something just as simple as that, we can waffle on in 2 seconds. And you think in any way that we can be tied to someone eternally, on our own, and remain faithful? We are not faithful to ourselves. We're not faithful to our own thoughts. And God says, and you shall know the Lord. Now, not too long ago, God talked about you forgetting. Right? You won't remember me. What verse was that?
17.
17? Yeah, I think it was 13. Yes, 13, the end. And she went after her lovers and forgot me, declares the Lord. So, we are going after our lovers, we've forgotten God. God takes us and says, I'm going to bind you to me, faithfulness, justice, love, mercy, and then what happens? and you shall know the Lord.